What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And today will be the first video of my 16-week prep to a competition in October. And that's going to be amazing. I'm going to track everything. And for you guys, I'm going to also show you my weight progression throughout this prep, as well as how I look like throughout this prep. You will see the workouts I do, you will see the food I eat, the supplements I take. So that's going to be a very enormously nice journey. But I got a new scale which I will use to gauge my progress. It's always an estimation, but the most important thing is the progression from one point to another. The numbers themselves don't really matter that much. It's the progression between point A and point B. And if the trend is going like this in terms of weight and body fat, we're good. So let's check it out. Alright, so I got this body analyzer right here, which I got from Vanity Planet, a website. And what you do is you set your bodily properties, like your height, if it sharpens, and let's check it out again, your age, and whether you are a male or female athletic person, and then it's able to calculate your body fat percentage and stuff, and it'll give you a more accurate reading over time. So first you do this, then you wait until 0. Then it is time to stand on the scale on the metal platform so it can actually calculate through your body. We're stuck at about 117.8. Now it's calculating everything. Alright, I'm gonna pause it right here and tell you a little bit about these numbers. So basically this scale tracks body fat percentage, water weight, lean muscle mass, and bone mass, and obviously your total mass. Now it uses a certain formula with electronic resistance throughout your body, and with this resistance it uses this formula and calculates all these numbers. So this formula doesn't change. So the numbers you see right here are starting points from which you can progress as you're dieting, either bulking or cutting. So of course the 25% you see here isn't to be taken literally, as I will explain later. However, the bone mass you see right there, and along with the body weight itself, they are to be taken as absolute numbers, so you can definitely use those to track them and see online, for example with bone mass, to see if you're in the healthy range. Now, the most important thing we want to look at here is the weight and the body fat percentage. Now, it's said that I'm about 25%. This, of course, is a little high. So what I want you guys to do, and this is with all bio-independence meters or even a body caliper meter, the percentage that it says that your body fat isn't really relevant. It's more about the progression between point A and point B, as I told you. And because this scale, actually you gotta set it before you can use it, set it on the hot floor, calibrate it so the weight is accurate, and every time you use it on that floor, the readings will be as accurate as possible. So what I want to look at as a bodybuilder, because usually these scales, when you have a high amount of body mass, they tend, because the scale works with a resistance meter, it measures the resistance of your fat, your muscle, your bones, etc., and then calculates how much it is. And when you're very muscled, it might take a bit of muscle and convert that into a fat percentage. But every time it will use the same formula. So what you can do is use that percentage and use the progression between point A and point B. Because even if you do a body caliper meeting with skin folds, right, a 4-point or 7-point measurement, when you let one person do it, it might say 11%, another person it might say 15%. The percent itself, which a lot of people are stuck up about, it doesn't matter. I know a very reputable coach who gets people to contest shapes, shredded as can be. Some are like 2% body fat and some are 6% body fat, but they look exactly the same conditioning wise. So the percentage doesn't matter, it's about the progression between point A and point B. Now you can get 60% off of this body analyzer on the website, which I put in the description. Use code Wesley60 to get 60% off. So if you're interested in getting it, check it out. And yeah, if you're also on a journey like me, cutting down or lean bulking, making sure your fat doesn't skyrocket, then get a skill like this to gauge your progress. Anyway, it is time for some cardio. Alright guys, this is my shape right now in the morning. And this is my starting shape. I will add fullness to this physique and of course more conditioning. But I already weigh more than the previous time that I started a cut for a competition. So I'm sure that my physique will look a lot greater. I also took care of a lot of weak points, such as the upper chest is filled out more. So I'm very excited to start out this journey. And it's raining outside very much, as you know. Netherlands, raining. So what we do is we do cardio inside. Alright, so before starting cardio, I'm actually going to use this supplement, a fat releaser. Now, this contains caffeine, L-carnitine, green tea extract, just a lot of natural things to help your body just burn even 1% more fat. Using it every single time you do cardio, however, over a period of 16 weeks, a supplement like this will work. I've used this in my other competitions before, my other contest preps. I didn't get as lean as I will get now though, because now everything will be perfect. I learned from the other times, but now everything needs to be top notch, which is why I'm using this. I'm gonna take 2 capsules of this before and 1 after to ensure a metabolism increase over the rest of the day. So let's do it. Alright guys, now I'm going to do some cardio pre-breakfast. This is to burn purely fat, because when you sleep for 8 to 10 hours, your glycogen stores will actually deplete to a certain level, and the fat stores, you can more easily access them when doing cardio in the morning. It's the same when doing weightlifting and then depleting your glycogen stores and then doing cardio. It's the same principle, but this to me is even better, because then throughout the day your metabolism is increased. So that's the benefit of this, and that's also why I took that fat release supplement, for the extra caffeine, for the extra stimulant. Not too high, it's actually quite mild, but just a little help to get the metabolism going. I'm going to do this for about 40 minutes, and then I'm going to have my breakfast, which I will show you. So yeah. Alright, this is my breakfast. This is just oatmeal with whey, 20 grams of almonds, 30 grams of raisins, 100 grams of oatmeal. I don't cook this, by the way. I've always eaten this raw as it is. Some people can take it, some people can't, but I can, because I never had any stomach problems with it at all. And yeah, 50 grams of whey, quite high, but my protein will be high throughout the entire diet to promote thermogenesis in the body, the thermogenic effect of protein, causing your metabolism to increase. And there is a lot of cinnamon in there. That's the brown stuff that you see, and the cinnamon will cause your body to be more sensitive to insulin. So your cells will be more sensitive to taking in the carbs inside the muscle cell and look fuller. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy this meal right now, and then I'm going to do some groceries. Alright, I just finished my breakfast and I wanted to show you guys something. I saw a video recently, and this is unrelated by the way, but on Facebook about Pokemon cards, actually selling them for quite a high price, and I got some right here. I have no idea how much they are worth, but I dug them up. I used to play this for a lot of years back in the day when I was very young. I played Pokemon. I didn't even know how. I just liked collecting the cards and seeing which one was the strongest. So they're right here, as you can see. Let me show you a couple. So I have this one right here, of which I think are some of the rare ones. For example, like this. And also got cards like this. And as you can see, the stack is pretty high. So if anyone is interested, then, you know, mail me or message me, whatever. I just want to know if you're interested, so because I don't have any use for them anymore. Also have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards like this. I mean, a lot of different ones. So if there is any card you have in mind that you are interested in, message me and we can discuss what we will do. Anyway, let's move on to bodybuilding. So throughout this prep, I will actually focus a lot more on the basics, true classic bodybuilding. And I will use examples of course, Arnold, Tom Platz, Frank Zane, all those guys of the 70s, but also guys who you guys don't consider classic at all, such as Ronnie Coleman. Now the difference between Ronnie Coleman and a classic bodybuilder is obviously the physique being not as aesthetic. That is the true difference. The art form is basically lost because the chase to mass was done and it was just massive, but the aesthetics after like 2001 were kind of disappearing. However, in the beginning he looked great, and throughout his entire workouts and training he did the same kind of workouts: squats, front squats, hack squats, bench press, dumbbell press, deadlifts, bent over rows, T-bar rows. These are all exercises that I used to do in the golden era of bodybuilding as well. So the workouts that Ronnie Coleman does are classic. It's just that the mindset about keeping the waist tight, about keeping aesthetics, proportions, that was kind of lost in the era of mass building after like Dorian Yates took the throne. So that is the only difference, but the workout itself is very good. I've actually done a couple of his workouts and looked at his rep range, because when you see me bench press, I like to do this, go all the way up, for example, right? And with squats, the same thing. Go down very deep, but I'll go all the way up. When you watch Ronnie Coleman, he does reps that are quite short, and actually those are more difficult than the complete reps because it's only on the chest. The further you go, the more triceps you use, and the bottom is purely the chest. And some Arnold footage also shows him doing these half reps right here. Those keep the time under tension in the chest stronger. The tension in the chest will be stronger because right here there is simply less tension because more of the triceps is able to push the weight with the chest. And here it's mostly the chest right here. And the same you can do with squats. And this is something that I've been doing for quite a while now. Doing squats, actually staying below 90 degrees, going above 90 degrees, and staying in this range without going all the way up. The tension on your legs is so great that you will actually feel your legs being exhausted before you get too tired of the heavy squats themselves. Because I had the problem that when I'm squatting, that I had to rest for like 5 minutes at the heaviest set because I was simply tired. It was like a cardio. But if you keep the tension right there and focus on the muscle, right, the mind-muscle connection right there, then the exhaustion only occurs in the legs and not as much in the entire body. You will feel the lactic acid build up in your legs before you're too tired to perform another rep. And that is what I've been struggling with for a long time, but now just watching one of the best bodybuilders ever in terms of creating mass, I mean, he must do something right. So especially with legs, he still had one of the best legs ever. So I've been implementing that, and it's all classic. I will be, of course, with chest, it sometimes is good to change up the rep range in terms of how far you go. So I'll show you that in the workouts that I'll be doing. It's going to be all classic, working on my weak points, basic exercises, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why I'm doing them and comparing it to the workouts of good bodybuilders who do these classic workouts. So that's going to be very interesting indeed. You know, you want to keep it to the classics if you want to progress even when you're cutting down. If you want to work on your weak points, of course, doing some isolation movements specifically to target your weak points is good, but sticking to the basics for overall development is the best thing you can do. Anyway, it's time to do some groceries. Alright guys, I just got back from doing the groceries. I just got some basic stuff. Some Nordic salmon, so with the omega-3 fats for before bed in the evening after training, basically. Some codfish, some white pollock fish, some tilapia, pangasius, basmati rice, and some stir-fry vegetables with which you can make meals like this. And this, as you can see, is 2 fishes, about 250 to 300 grams in total, and they are boiled in a pan with soy sauce, so they have a lot of flavor in them. And there's 100 grams of basmati rice with the Thai vegetables for some spice. And of course, don't forget the Cajun spices. And after this workout, I will be doing chest and triceps. So after I finish this meal, you will see the workout right now.
Alright, now that we arrived at the workout, it is time to start out with the basic exercise, the bench press. I have already done a couple of warm-ups before this, and this is the first set that I'm starting to really concentrate on the movement and the muscle instead of just warming up. What I think is important is that you go all the way down with the bar, maximizing the stretch in the chest, because that is what you want, especially on an exercise like this, where the contraction isn't really that possible compared to a cable fly, for example. So what you want to maximize is the only thing you can do is stretch it. And that's why you should go all the way down.
Set number 1.
Yeah. So yes, this is the first set that is really starting to become a challenge, and when I watch videos of professional bodybuilders who are very successful, who have chests who I can only dream of having, they also really do a lot of warm-ups and then start heavy and then do 2, 3, 4 heavy sets, and that's really when the work sets begin. That's why I mentioned this to be set number 1. But yes, as I mentioned, I'm starting to cut down in terms of body fat, so I won't take it to the absolute max every single time, because that's unnecessary risk. What I want now is to do a little more volume, and that's only 2 or 3 more reps per set. So while I would be doing 8 to 10 reps normally, I'm doing 10 to 12 now. And this way you add a little more volume to the muscles, to working the blood into the muscles while still doing the same exercises, but stimulating them a little differently, allowing you a longer time of retention, which requires a little less weight. And I'm starting to become a little more conditioned, as you can see right here, and my goal is to remain full, so the muscles should remain full. I really shouldn't go too flat, so my carbs will stay relatively high, but slowly get more and more conditioned. That's why I'm also starting out 16 weeks prior compared to usually 12 weeks before competition, so I can literally grow into the competition. And I don't mean that in terms of weight, but in terms of looks. So I will look actually heavier than I do now, and maybe my weight won't even be as high as it is now. So that's going to be very interesting. And then it is time for the decline. So we did the regular bench press, then we did the incline, and now the decline. So the regular bench press focuses on both of the chest muscles, the top and the bottom. The incline emphasizes the top of the chest or the upper chest, and the decline is really focusing on the bottom of the chest. You can see that clearly right here. You can see that the top of the chest isn't contracting that much in comparison to how I contracted it in the incline bench press. But I really do think this is a very good combination to target the entire chest. So if you want to work on the upper chest, you really should include the incline bench press or incline dumbbell press before moving on to a decline movement.
Ronnie Coleman style.
Ronnie Coleman.
And this is indeed Ronnie Coleman's style. I've been watching his videos, and of course a lot of people in their minds think, hey, Ronnie Coleman, that's not a classic bodybuilder. He's nothing like a classic bodybuilder. And appearance-wise, yes, you're right, especially in his later years, his aesthetics did not simulate a classic bodybuilder. However, his workouts are pure classic hardcore workouts. There's nothing fancy about them, it's just classic exercises that work. Very comparable to the 70s and 80s indeed. So watching his workouts and emulating them, of course lowering the volume and weight a little bit, you can definitely make some good classic gains. And this is really to target the upper chest, because this movement literally is the exact movement that is required to build the upper chest perfectly, because this plane of movement contracts the upper chest better than any other movement. You can compare this to an incline dumbbell press, you can compare it to an incline cable fly, but this one, the low to high cable fly, really mimics the muscle of the upper chest. The way it works, the way it contracts, the way it stretches, it is all perfect. So this is the way to grow the upper chest. I will very soon start out with isolation movements like this again, because focusing on strength when cutting is really not something you want to do. It is no use. It really, it's not about ego here, it is about progress. And right now I'm slowly implementing that movement into my workouts again. So right now I'm ending with it, and it just feels really good to contract the chest individually like this as well. In the last set it's a little different. You can actually do a little more weight and focus more on the contraction here compared to doing two arms at the same time, because here you can actually move further than you could with two arms. So that's what you should try out as well. And a lot of people, they neglect isolation movements for the chest. They think it's all about the bench press, the dumbbell presses. Now of course those are very good compound exercises, but only for the genetic superior, which I'm actually not one of, because my chest has never been very good. You really should do an isolation movement to target a weak point in your chest or any other muscle group. If Ronnie Coleman does these exercises, does the 3 compound exercises we did before this, his entire chest will grow regardless. But compared to a regular person, then that certainly won't happen. And now I'm going to do an exercise that I usually don't combine with chest, but is very logical. I used to combine this with chest about a year ago in the other gym. Back then I used to do incline military presses in the Smith machine, but now I'm doing the regular military press. Why? Well, it is only going to be 3 sets, but the weight you can use is very low, and you can barely lift half of what you're normally able to, and the volume, even though you want it to be a little higher, you simply stop lifting because you're too exhausted in those muscles you're using right now. That should tell you enough. When working the chest, you work the front delts so much, in most cases, that you might as well finish it off with one more exercise instead of doing an entirely workout dedicated to it every single week. I do indeed do shoulder workouts individually, focusing on the shoulders itself, but that's only once every 2 to 3 weeks. So if you still want to work on the shoulders but don't want to dedicate an entire workout to it, combining it with chest is the best possible way of exhausting and making that shoulder grow. This is the same that Ronnie Coleman used to do. This is a wide grip tricep push down as we are moving on to the triceps. This wide grip, and you might be able to see it when I'm contracting the triceps, really works the long head of the triceps. Just like when you're doing a close grip curl, it works the outer head. We're doing a wide grip push down works the inner head or the long head. So it's basically an opposite direction that the muscles will contract. When you contract the inside, probably your arms are more on the outside and vice versa. That's actually true for biceps, triceps, and a lot of other exercises as well. For example, a close grip leg press works the outer head, and a wide grip works the teardrop. But moving on to the machine tricep dips. This is one for the medial head. Now obviously with every single exercise you work all three heads, but it's all about emphasizing those muscles that you want to work most. It's only a couple percent that you emphasize these muscles, but it is enough to see progress over a consistent and long period of time, which is why you should not change up your workout so very often. As you guys know, I make workout programs for people, and a lot of them immediately say, hey, how long does this workout program last for me? Or should I change it up by now? And they ask me that after like 6 weeks. No, you shouldn't. If you really want to make gains using those exercises, you should do them consistently. At least not change it up entirely, but keep in some exercises that you keep doing so you can actually progress and allow your body to build up from the previous session. If you change it up entirely, yes, you will get muscle ache, but you cannot really build a foundation of progress on a certain movement, which is something you really should do, because that's what bodybuilding is all about. Yes, you do hit different angles. For example, during this exercise, the French press, and actually I superset it with a close grip press. But what you don't want to do is, for example, I'm doing this right now and I'm saying to myself, oh, I don't really feel it, I'm going to do another exercise that time, another exercise that time. If you keep changing it up like that, if you don't stick at least to some of the basics, you simply cannot grow as much as you would if you did, if you know what I mean. So that's why this exercise has been a staple in my workout, because logically it simply works the long head of the triceps, and I'm going to keep doing it until I make even more progress in the triceps. Triceps have been my weak point for a long time, but they have been progressing a lot compared to my biceps. So this tells me that the exercises that I've been doing over the last few months have actually made my triceps bigger, which is what I want. If you do 20 different exercises for the triceps, you cannot really build them up as you would want. So that was the workout of today. Simple chest, simple triceps, but consistently with great results. Thank you a lot for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.